Let's just talk a little bit about finishing setting up your device. Because the last time that we were here together talking about setting up a device, I was demonstrating setting up that device with an older device. And we had two segments on that, and we finished it. Now that you have your device set up, we're going to talk about 5 apps that are most important apps that come natively on your phone. And Austin, what are these apps that are most important on our phones? What are some of these apps?
The first app is the dialer, that is the most important app. And the second one is messaging. And then Gmail will come by default, and also your camera app.
That's right. And so now when we talk about the dialer, we're talking about the phone app. So you want to call someone, let's say you're not calling them on Hangouts or Google Duo or WhatsApp, but someone locally, you just want to give a regular call. So the phone dialer here is important. And in most cases, both the phone dialer and the contacts sometimes are merged together, even though they could stand as separate apps, yet in the same breath, when you launch the phone dialer, and I'm using the Google phone, for example, you will have the contacts tab there. And also that is true about Samsung phones as well. So that phone dialer is a very important one because there you will have your contacts as well. You open up the phone app. So at the bottom, you have these tabs. You have favorites at the far left.
Selected. Recent.
Then recent, that's your recent calls. Contacts, and if you tap on this, you're going to see all of your contacts.
Voicemail.
And then voicemail. Now, if your phone supports visual voicemail like mine does, because I'm with the Project Fi or Google Fi as it is now, you'll be able to read the transcripts of whatever calls that you received. And some carriers support that and some don't. So that's one of the things that we have here. That would be the phone app, and it's bundled together with the contacts, even though the contacts is there as a separate app. And so when you have Google, automatically your contacts would be synced to your account.
Now, I want to comment that the phone app may look different based on which phone you have. So, if you have a Samsung phone, it may look different. A OnePlus may look different. Also, the gestures that you have to answer the call with may be different. If you have the OnePlus Nord, it uses the Google Dialer by default. But if you have another phone, you can install the Google Dialer from the Play Store.
And talking about answering calls, like if you have the Google Dialer, when you have an incoming call, then you swipe up with 2 fingers to answer that call. And if you swipe down with 2 fingers, that declines the call. Now, in some older phones, maybe before, like Marshmallow and below, you have to swipe right. I don't remember. It's been a while. I had a Marshmallow phone or, Lollipop. I have a Lollipop here that I demonstrated the Android setup on. But frankly, I don't have a SIM card in it to try to see how it is that one answers those calls, because it's been a while I last used a Lollipop phone. That's Android version 5.
There used to be button on the screen to answer and end call whenever the call is to come. So there was no gestures that time.
No, there was. It used to be that you swipe. There was a bubble when you have a call. Then you swipe right from the middle, just above the home key area. You swipe right with 2 fingers. That answers the call, and if you swipe left, it declines the call. That's how it used to be. With both Jelly Bean, Kit Kat, and Lollipop. And I don't think that it changed with the introduction of Marshmallow. I think the swipe after answer was when we got Nougat. Now, I don't remember. These things have been quite a while.
Yeah, 4-5 years almost now.
Yeah. Now, also, how about Gmail? When you set up your Gmail account, or when you log on to Google using your Google account, or whether you're having a first phone setup or whatever, by default, you're already logged into Gmail. And so you're going to see in the notification shade, and what we're talking about notification shade is, when you're on the home screen, like we were last time when we set up the device, you probably be hearing some sounds, and those sounds probably coming from notification from your Gmail. And in that case, you'll just have to swipe down with 2 fingers, and that will open up your notification shade. And there you'll see Gmail there. or in most cases, you'll see Gmail on the home screen or in a folder called Google if you're using like a Google device or some of those OEMs that use the Google or the Pixel launcher.
Mail, primary, signed in as Warren Carr Worker at gmail.com, open account menu.
So there's my Gmail, and
Forums, Charlotte, Brittany Stobble, to do, enlist.
so I just have only, so if you have Gmail by default, it kind of tends to group things for you. So if you have forums and things like that, it automatically groups those for you. So that's one of the things that we just heard. And on the Gmail app, now with the new Gmail, you have the ability or capability of launching meeting from here. One of these days, we're going to go into these apps individually and exclusively demonstrate those so you see what they're all about.
Meet, tab, 202, enlist,
See, so there's the
selected, mail, tab, 1 of 2.
so there's the mail, and then there's the meet tab to the left. At the bottom left is your mail tab, and then the meet
Meet, tab, 2 of 2.
is to the right.
Selected, meet, tab, 2 of 2, enlist, meet, get a link you can share in horizontal pager.
See, so I tapped on Meet, and now I'm now in Google Meet, and I don't have any meetings coming on here.
Mail, tab, 1
So
of 2.
I hit
Selected, mail, tab, 1 of 2, enlist, 2 items. Mail,
back
forums,
mail.
Charlotte, Brittany
There you go. So that's Gmail, and if you want to compose,
compose, button, out of list.
it's right there above the Meet tab. That would be Gmail.
So the next app that we are going to demonstrate is the messaging app. So you have a phone and you make phone calls, but now you have to send somebody a message. And I know messaging has been reduced now. Very less people use messaging. But sometimes there are some situations in which you need to send a message. Maybe the net doesn't work or something and you have to send a message. So messaging apps also may look different depending on which phone you have, but you can always install the Google Messaging app using the Play Store. So I have the Google Messaging app here, and let me show you. So at the top right, we have the More Options button.
Start chat.
Then to the left of it, you have
Unread message. Search links. Edit. Start chat.
the Start Chat button. This is the Compose message. And then you have
Search
the
links. Edit
Search Links. Now this lets you search links in all the messages that you have. It also lets you search for texts. So in options menu, we have something
Battery
like
78%. More options. Pop-up window. Mark all as read. In list.
you can mark all as read.
Messages for web.
You can use Google Messages for web, so we can read messages on the web, and one day we will do the demo of this message on the web.
Choose theme.
You can choose your theme, dark mode or light mode.
Archive.
You can select messages and put them in archive. You can also read archived messages.
Spam and block.
Here you get a list of spam and blocked users.
Settings.
And settings. Now settings, there is a lot of settings,
Messages.
but
More
mostly
options. Button.
you don't have to change anything here. You may have to change something known as message centers that will be given to you by your carrier, and you need to change that. So the Compose window
More options. Button. Start chat.
has
Editing. Type it.
the name.
Create group.
You can create a group.
Switch between entering. Editing. Type a name. Phone
So
number.
you
or
type
email.
the
Edit box
name
for
number in the first field,
Switch
then
between entering text and numbers.
you
button.
can switch between text and numbers,
Create group.
create a group,
A.
and then you have a list of your contacts. So let's say if I want to send
Editing.
a
Type a
message to Warren,
Selected. Warren.
I just need to select his contact,
Editing. Text message. Edit box. Out of list.
and
Showing English US
that
word
is
keyboard.
it. I have entered Warren's contact details. Now there is a English keyboard popped up to compose the message, and I need to just type.
P. Keyboard. Voice input.
This is a test using the messaging app.
Back. Button. Keyboard hidden.
And all I need to do now is click on send.
Send end to end. Sending message. Showing English US wording keyboard. Warren. Editing. Chat. Message sent. Home. Button. Navigation
And
bar.
that is it. The message is
Keyboard
gone.
hidden. Home plus launcher.
The camera app, we need to see those pretty faces and handsome faces. And so some of the camera apps are not very accessible and others are. In other words, what we're talking about here, if you're blind and you want to know when somebody's face is in the live view of the camera, you want the camera to be able to tell you, that is, the talkback to tell you somebody's face is now within your camera view. And there are some third-party apps that would do that, but natively some cameras don't, and the only ones that I know now, Austin, if you know some that I don't know, you let us know, but I know the only ones that do are the Google camera and the Samsung cameras. Now, is there another one natively that does this? Austin, do you know?
No, there's no native camera that does this. But for third-party devices, they can install a Google camera from XDA.
And if or people could install something like the Open Camera, by some guy named Mark. And there was another one that I posted on, actually, I think about 3 or 4 of those. Those also have what we call the face detection features. And so if the Google camera that is modded is not compatible with your device, then you have at least the Open Camera, which I've found out to be most compatible with most phones out there. So that will be another third-party option to go for.
Photo gallery button. Timer off. Flash off. Motion auto. Full image 4:3. Camera. Close social share.
So you hear mine talking, and there's no.
One face. Top left. With 30% of screen.
I just
One
point.
face. Top right. With 30% of screen.
I just pointed it
Zero
at
faces.
myself, and then when I move it, it says 0 faces. So that would be your app, and that's the Pixel phone using the Google app. And I'm going to show quickly a third party, just in case that yours doesn't have a Google camera or a phone that doesn't have a Google camera support. You could use what I call the third party one, and I talked about Open Camera, for example.
My apps.
Let's.
Folder. Cameras. 4 more items.
So I got
Open camera. Hold.
a folder here with different cameras, and
Open camera.
so I'm going to turn that on.
Landscape. What's new? This dialog is shown when Open camera is updated. You can disable it under settings /on-screen /show what's new dialog. Okay button.
Okay.
Open camera. Settings button.
So when you
One face at top of screen. 0 faces. One face at right of screen.
see, so I just
Zero
pointed it at me, and it tells me one face and all of that, and that's how that one works. And you can go into
Switch between multiple cameras button.
the settings and
Settings button.
which is found near the top right, and just set it to have the face detection turned on, and that's.
Face detection. Use face detection instead of focus areas. On. Switch.
So you must always turn that on if you want to hear if there's a face in the view of the camera or not.
Allowed to make a comment on Open Camera that if you are like a videography, if you do video recording, if you want to use external mics, Open Camera does support external mics.
That's right, and that's such a beautiful thing. So that would be the Open Camera.
So the next app that we'll be talking about is the browser. Now browser lets you browse the web and download files and all those things. By default you get Chrome, but Samsung phones also bundle something known as Samsung Internet.
Xiaomi India.
So
Chrome.
let's open Chrome
5%. Progress bar. 70%. Chrome. Web view. Blind Android users podcast. Web view.
and you open our podcast page.
Default podcast image. Link. Not checked. Checkbox. Home. Link. Episodes. Link. Subscribe. Link. About. Link. Contact. Link. Times. Link. Search text field. Search for episodes. Search for episodes.
And there you can see, you can view, you can read the page. So on the top you have
Lindandroid.
the
A Christmas gift from lindandroidusers.podsite.io. Edit box.
The
Search for
address.
web address. One open tab. Tap to switch tabs. Button.
then to the right of that you have a list of open tabs. You can switch to tabs from there.
More options. Button.
To the extreme top right we have more options, and you get a lot of options here. One day we are going to do a detailed demo of all these apps, and we will show you how to set Chrome more better to use.